every time you return to the tower. That is, I like that idea. You know, I had an idea for a really stupid category, which was all dirt blocks. So it's just any percent, but you have to destroy every single dirt block in the game, and if you miss one, that's a fail condition. Anyways, looks like we're getting started. So this is the plains. Okay, Eric stopped moving for a second. That scared me. He was having a few controller problems earlier this week, so I hope that's not a big problem tonight. But in any case, there's a lot of skulls here to get. There's one of them that you need to get in order to pay red at the hub to give you powerful weapons that you can use to kill the bosses really quickly. So it takes, I want to say 6 for the basketball, and then 7 to get the skeletal sentry. So depending on what route the runners are running, they will need definitely a number of skulls, some of them.
Yep, so seeing both of the runners getting that first goal means that they're probably going for the basketball route, which, yes, they do need 6. This is a race between Moo and Eric. Peanuts, would you mind talking a little bit about Specter's movement?
Oh, sure thing. So Specter's main movement ability is his dashing slash, which when you get close enough to something that's a valid target, you see a little slash appear over them. At that point, you press the attack button, and Specter will slash very quickly in that direction. His other main movement ability is wall climbing. So if you touch a wall, he will automatically begin climbing up it. It's kind of the opposite of like Mega Man X, where X automatically starts sliding down it. So he'll automatically climb up. You see a few wall kicks from there from Moo. So what he's doing there is jumping off the ladder, grabbing the wall for a very short amount of time, and right as he starts climbing up the wall, he just kicks off it and jumps. It's the fastest way to go through little narrow corridors with a single ladder in them like that. Right, so we're getting to the Black Knight fight. You want to tell us about Black Knight?
Yeah, so Black Knight this is the first appearance. Unusual compared to his other appearances in the Shovel Knight game and all of his other campaigns is that he has Terrapin, his trusty steed, and in true Black Knight fashion, he's going to try to knock him against the wall to get a stun lock going, and Moo seems like he's getting it, and now we're going to see if Eric will do the same.
Yep, that was a really good kill from Moo. This is a pretty consistent kill compared to Plague Knight, and it's a much easier kill than Shovel Knight. Oh no, but lets him off at the end. That's not that big of a deal, because he did still kill him pretty quickly, and also ended in the right corner with Terrapin close to the right corner, which is also very important.
Yes, the stage ends when Terrapin basically leaves, so having them there, pretty good.
Yeah. So what I want to know is, how would Specter Knight get out of there if Terrapin did not break the wall for him?
Well, that would be a big conundrum for him.
Yeah, I mean, he would just be stuck, right?
Alright, so really, Black Knight's the true hero of this game.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, he's just, nope, you're just stuck in the box, you can't do anything else, dude.
Alright, so it looks like Eric is going to pay, is that when Legion or Manny shoot? I forget.
I think it's Manny. I don't know a name, so we're just gonna say
it's Manny. Alright, sure, that sounds good to me. So he's going to pay Manny in advance. You can pay him in the next trip to the hub, but what paying him here does is you use a lot of your money, so if you happen to die in this stage, you don't drop as much money. So it's a little safety precaution.
Okay, so the first stage they're going into here is called the Flying Machine. It's Propeller Knight stage, one of the most dangerous stages, really, usually done later on in other campaigns. And they're doing this to get 2 things. One, tons of money. Second thing is an item called Judgment Rush. Could you tell us a little bit more about Judgment Rush?
Sure thing. Oh, well, Eric died, but fortunately he, spent some of his money earlier, like we were talking about. So the Judgment Rush, which they'll get after they complete this stage, targets the closest valid enemy and has Specter Knight fly super fast to them and do 2 hits of damage. And it will make you fly through other enemies, terrain, anything. You'll see in the tutorial for the weapon, you have to fly through walls to even get past the room. So I'm showing you how to use it, which is pretty cool. Looks like Eric getting a little backup chest there to recoup some of the money that he lost, so it's a pretty good strat. Oh, also going to go for the Will Skull here. This is one of the faster Will Skulls, and it's also pretty close to, you know, the beginning of the run, so you get 6 hearts early in. Moomoo showing off in the auto-scroller. Moomoo always scares me in this auto-scroller. I'm always, like, positive that while he's doing this nonsense, he's gonna eat it. He has some stuff he does in Clockwork Tower, too, and I'm just watching it and just, like, getting nervous, like, why would you do this? But we'll see that later in the run. Okay, so Moomoo's coming up on the triple Jawa room. These are 3 rude dudes in this room. This room is actually, like, really fatal, potentially. Oh, wow. But never even stopped holding right. That was a very clean room. Alright, coming up on the Propeller Knight fight. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about this man?
Okay, so Propeller Knight can be very dangerous, especially having 3 health, since he minimally does 1 heart of damage, sometimes 1.5 if he gets his fan blades in your face. Really nice start from Moomoo, gaining 10 hits on him before the ground breaks, and he's down on Moomoo's screen.
Yeah, very clean. So that first phase there, the most hits you get, I think theoretically is like 14, but absolutely nobody does that. Practically, the most you can get is 10 before he breaks the floor and starts the next part of the fight. So really clean kill there.
So now Moomoo's going to head to this guy called Red, and that's the skulls you're collecting. He collects skulls to give you your sub-weapons, the curios, and now he's going to get Judgment Rush. Can you tell us a little bit about... you already did. So
yeah.
You're going to see exactly what Peanuts just explained a couple of minutes ago, how awesome it is.
Yeah, and you can see how fast he's moving when he's using that item. And the fact that it also lets you bypass terrain is incredibly useful. There's a lot of rooms that otherwise would be really challenging and problematic that instead you just push the Judgment Rush button and you go to the exit.
Eric with the heart attack and makes the nice save on the tower room.
I'm telling you, that room is horrifying. I mean, at least they put a checkpoint right before it. Like, they know. But... Ooh. Okay, that one of those cannonballs scared me. I thought he was gonna go flying. So, Moomoo's starting up the Explodatorium. Reason we go here is because beating the stage unlocks the Bounding Soul. We'll talk about that a bit more when we get to it. The whole stage is based around global cycles, so all these moving platforms and such are moving even when you're not actually on the screen that they're on. This next screen is the most important one for the global cycles. It looks like he made the cycle. Because otherwise you have to wait for that one. There's no other way up there. You gotta wait for the pod and have it lift you up, and if it's not at the right cycle, you just sit there and wait. It's not great.
So one of the things you're noticing that Moomoo has right now, that Eric will get in a minute, is the rail mail. That's what he got from Annie, and that's allowing him to move very quickly through stages. It'll allow him to grind off of spikes, as long as he's touching it with the rail mail activated, and is giving a lot of potential for the run. Onto the first mini-boss, the boss rather, of the Explodatorium Alchemist. Really cleanly done. He's just going right and left, just trying to get as many hits as possible, and is basically down right here. Very nicely done from Moomoo.
Yeah, super clean kill. That's about as fast as you can do it with no curios. Alright, so Eric picking up the Judgment Rush on the other screen. He'll be picking up the Rail Mail in a minute here. Oh, and then he picks up the skull. Interesting. Oh, so he picks up that skull after he has the Rail Mail. That's interesting.
Okay, Moomoo coming up on the Plague Knight fight, which is a little different from the route that Eric is getting. So right now you're going to see basically a low percent fight. Moomoo has to use only Specter's base abilities to hit him. So because of the jumping around, because of feeling that floating himself. It could be tricky, but he's getting it pretty well. And can you tell us why Eric went to the Lich Yard, what he's doing?
Sure thing. So, Eric's going to the Lich Yard because beating this stage unlocks the Skeletal Sentry. The Sentry is the second best curio for killing bosses after the Bounding Soul, but it is a little easier to use, and the time saved by Bounding Soul is not like so huge that people don't run this route anymore. On the other screen, Moomoo is entering Dream 1. So this stage you automatically go to after you've beaten 2 of the normal stages. And it's just like a little flashback sequence where you see Specter Knight when he was Donovan. There's a lot of money in this stage to collect, and any money that you pick up is transferred back to the real world. Also, any money that you lose from dying is also real, so the dream is happening in real time somehow. Try not to think about it. Anyways, it's over. It's not a very long stage.
And because of Moomoo's route, he didn't have to pick up as much money. We're probably going to see you need a little more money because in the Skeletal Sentry route to deal with. This is one of the differences between the routes. Eric is going to be coming up onto the boss soon, called Phantom Striker. And he could be a little dangerous just because he teleports a lot, he shoots lightning at you a lot. There is a consistent kill, so we'll see how Eric contends with this.
On the other screen, Moomoo completing the tutorial for Bounding Soul. So Bounding Soul is 2 projectiles that you can toss, and they will bounce and recoil and hit things. The DPS is very high, and it'll be even better when we upgrade it, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. Eric doing pretty good against the Phantom Striker so far. This is one of the bosses where extra health early in the run really helps, because he can do a lot of damage. Those 4 rotating orbs that he just set out do a full heart each, and as you can see, they're a little difficult to avoid. Oh, geez, he's running really low. Come on, Eric. You got this.
Man.
No! Oh wow, he avoided it!
Attack
that was
number 2.
no! Oh, that was
3 heart attacks now.
And the final heart attack gets it.
Oh no. Okay, so getting the money back but will be okay, but getting the time back is going to be interesting for Eric to deal with, as Moomoo is getting a lead here.
And Moomoo going to the Lost City next. At this point, the stage order is not as important. You pretty much just go in order of the stages that are faster. And I suppose also the other bosses are a little faster when you have upgraded Bounding Soul, and with this one you maybe don't lose as much time, I guess is the idea.
Yeah, basically the potential for speed of kills, especially late in the game at the last 2 fights especially, can be much quicker with the Bounding Soul.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the route guy, I'm just like, this is the order we're doing? Okay, cool, I'll take your word for it. Good use of the Bounding Soul there. That's a trick you can use to bounce one of those green blobs in the opposite direction it's supposed to go, and it makes that little puzzle a little bit faster.
And looking on the right here, Eric now finally finished with Phantom Striker, moving on to the Memory. You're going to see small differences, most likely, about his route, just in how he deals with the stage, getting some money.
So we're probably going to see him pick up the big chest at the end. That chest plus the 2 big gems right by it, I think is about 1,400 gold. It's a pretty big chunk.
Moomoo onto Mole Knight, so he's going to be using the unupgraded Bounding Soul, which only gets 1 hit possible, doesn't pierce enemies, and he's just trying to slash as much as possible. Waits a moment, so he does a certain attack and stays above ground longer, and gets the quick kill.
That was nice, yeah. Killed him before he even did the next attack. Alright, so Eric is in fact going for that money, as we predicted. It's a big old chunk of change.
Yeah, he has exactly as much money Eric as he needs. Moomoo the same. Moomoo's going to be getting up to upgrading the Bounding Soul, and we'll be heading into the first version of Reese. Can you tell us about our friend Reese?
Oh yeah, so Reese appears in the hub world when you pick a stage after having beaten 3 stages. This always happens, it's a scripted event. And this is just a mini boss fight. We're going to see Eric get to this in another stage, but the fight is a little different depending on whether you've gotten Skeletal Sentry or Bounding Soul. I think Bounding Soul is considerably more useful because you can hit him at times when he's otherwise kind of difficult to reach. So you see there with the upgraded Bounding Soul, you can actually, the same soul can hit an enemy twice if you get it to bounce the right way. Oh, that was really nice.
That was nice. While Moo selects his next stage, we're going to talk a little bit about Clockwork Tower, which is the third stage in the Skeletal Sentry route. It's one of the longer stages due to there being 2 auto-scrollers in this stage. And you're going to see Eric putting 2 more red skulls so he can get his Skeletal Sentry item before Reese. And Moo is on to his next stage, Treasure Knight stage.
This is the underwater portion. So you can't swim in this game, but like none of the other knights, or like all of the other knights, whichever. But you do jump higher and slower while you're underwater. Okay, so that's not quite the optimal version of the Snail Parade room, but it's still really good. If you try to go through that without taking a damage boost, it takes a lot longer, but if you damage boost the right way, you end up like flying in the direction you want to go anyways. It's pretty cool.
So here you can start seeing the differences between both routes. In general, you're going to be dealing with less darkness for longer in Moo's Bounding Soul route. With Eric, he already has 3 darkness, and he doesn't even have his item yet, so you're going to be able to use more items with that route. So that definitely makes the differences in how you risk manage and everything else in your run.
So there's 1 skull in the auto-scroller here for Eric. It's coming up at the end of this. Part of the reason in the Skeletal Sentry you do this stage next is there's a lot of money in this stage, and there's also 2 skulls that don't take any time to get because they're in auto-scrollers and you can't speed or slow those down. Moo coming up on, I don't remember the official name of this boss, but it's 420 fish.
Yeah.
It's 420 fish. This is one of the spots where Bounding Soul is really, really helpful. If you can get all of those basketballs to double hit, you can kill this boss in 1 cycle. We had to use 2 extra basketballs, but it was still 1 cycle, so really good.
Yep, he's very careful not to down slash because it would have been an easy death if he down slashed the final hit.
Oh yeah, I've done that. That feels horrible. Yeah, with Skeletal Sentry, I think a 1 cycle there is possible, but it is unrealistically precise. Although I think Moo has actually gotten it on a run now that I think about it.
Yeah, being able to use like low percent strats is pretty crazy. Moo onto the Bertha room, which can be very dangerous because Bertha, for some reason, does 2 health. And oh, he does a nice save there to get through it and makes it with no damage. Really nicely done. Getting onto the Missile room into the Treasure Knight fight. And then we're going to see Eric going into the final auto-scroller, the Ascent of Torment, as I like to call it, heading into Tinker Knight. Can you tell us why Tinker Knight can sometimes be dangerous?
Alright, so Tinker Knight, it's a 2-form boss just like it is in regular Shovel Knight. However, in Shovel Knight the first form is kind of a joke form. In this game, it is very, very much a real boss, and contact with the boss does a full heart of damage. He's also tossing thousands of wrenches at you that do half a heart each, which are very difficult to avoid because there's a ton of them, you'll see. And the second form is more difficult than it is as Shovel Knight. Bottomless pits are opening up all over the place, and part of it is like randomized, there's like random platforms spawning, but it is a significantly more difficult fight.
I just hope that he knows that there's some health in this room to get before the fight, and Moo finished Treasure Knight, which is unremarkable really in the Bounding Soul because he just dies. I mean, you can't get attached to him, he just dies. Now he's onto the fast version of Lichard because he has no skulls to get, nothing to do but beat the stage as fast as possible with more darkness than Eric did on this stage. Eric now fighting the first phase of Tinker Knight.
Yeah, ideally, when he's on the ground, you want to be doing... I guess we never talked about this, but when Specter Knight is on the ground and using his ground slash, it is significantly more damage per second than his air slash, because every time he air slashes, he has to bounce off his enemy, so it's a lot slower. But the faster this boss dies, the shorter time he spends like riding all over the place and throwing wrenches at you, so he's a lot safer to beat if you beat him quickly.
And it's good that he killed him on the right side. As you can see, Eric just traveled with him as he went up using Judgment Rushes. He's just going to basically keep him in the air, keep Specter in the air, meaning, and just kill this guy as fast as possible and get out of there into the Reese fight.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he was going to build back the darkness that he needed for that last Judgment Rush, but he did. It would have been really bad if he hadn't, because then you fall and it's very difficult to get back up again.
And Moomoo going for the risky lower route, but definitely speedier, heading into his Phantom Striker, which, and I'm just going to let his gameplay speak for itself, just to notice the differences between how these routes deal with this guy.
Yeah, look at that.
Bam!
You can normally only hit this boss about 4 times before he teleports away, but with the Bounding Souls route, you can actually get to the halfway point of the fight from that first phase.
Doesn't quite get the full quick kill, but oh my gosh, does that guy just die?
Yeah, he's not a fan of basketball. He doesn't like it. It's more of a
Ooh, Eric did not pick up Skeletal Sentry before he went up to Legion, so he's going backtracking, unfortunately, to get it, so that's going to cost him a little bit of time, while Moomoo is already on to the second memory after fighting, I believe, 5 bosses. And we'll be facing Cheer Luan. Come on, Luan. Go, Luan.
You can do it, Luan. Oh, he's so fast! Yeah! Alright, so that's the fastest version of Luan. It's a little RNG. Whether or not Luan gets there before or after you. If he gets there before you, you don't have to wait for him, because you do need him in order to get up that platform. Okay, good backup strat for that run.
Caltrops in the beginning of the stage. You can get it in the first memory, but there's honestly not much point in the speedrun because you get it for free in the beginning of this one. And that's just going to allow him to fight Shield Knight, the boss of this stage, a little bit more quickly, trying to bounce it off of her shield, hit her in her back because you can't hit her in the front because obviously she's Lady Reinhardt. You can't hit Reinhardt in the front. You can't.
Oh yeah, you're right. And she is Girl Reinhardt. Good point.
Yeah. And Eric finishing Reese, so you notice that Skeletal Sentry stays on the ground, shoots a bunch of bullets through left and right. He can shoot 2 rounds and just hopefully deals with bosses quickly as you damage them with the Skeletal Sentry. Shield Knight down on the left. Eric now going into the Treasure Knight stage on the right with Skeletal Sentry intact.
I also want to mention that the Skeletal Sentry gets more health when you upgrade it, which is actually relevant in the Reese fight, because the unupgraded skeleton actually dies very quickly to Reese's just random projectiles that he's throwing all over the place. Okay, I actually did not know that the trick Eric just did works with unupgraded Judgment Rush.
The more you know.
Alright, Eric using a safer strat there for the Snail Parade room. He gets through it nicely. Moomoo starting on Clockwork Tower now.
Which is basically the same idea as when Eric ran it. He's just not gonna have to get the 2 skulls. I mean, he can because they're out of the way. Really gives us a heart attack, almost getting crushed there, but he's fine. So basically just, going through this long stage with 2 auto-scrollers as fast as possible. Eric on the right, dealing with the Treasure Knight stage. Totally gave up on that sentence in the middle of it.
Yeah, so he's coming up on 420. You're gonna see that this kill is different with Skeletal Sentry. Unfortunately, the Sentry is not super duper helpful against this boss. You can still one-cycle it with low percent strats, as you mentioned earlier, but it is prohibitively difficult, and I'm not expecting
There's some double hit nonsense that I'm not going to talk about here. One of the things that Skeletal Sentry can do is explode, and that creates a crosshair, a T-shaped rather, lowercase T-shaped explosion, which then do a half a heart of damage. So that can help increase the damage of 420 Fish, which he is going to look like he'll try. So we'll see how he deals with 420.
So there's also Judgment Rush, which does a full hit. No, okay, so he is going to go for 2 cycles. That's fine.
Still, a pretty decent fight for Skeletal Sentry. That's what you want, basically. You can go faster, yes, but that's still a good one. Decent.
I just want to mention again, I hate this stuff that Moomoo does in the auto-scrollers in this stage. I'm always like convinced he's gonna run into one of those spikes or something. He better not run along the. You know, that is specifically the thing I wanted him to not do. It's like, why? Just tempting fate. That's gonna happen someday when he's on PvP Face. He probably already has done so many runs in this game.
Hey, you see Moo here as well. This is going over the spinny gear, whatever's. I don't have an official name for those right
Whatever
now.
those columns are
English
called, yeah.
is not a language right now.
But yeah, there's actually no ceiling there, so you can just like climb right over the top of it, which we didn't realize for a while. I don't remember who found that. I think it was Mr. Gentle. I hope I'm not crediting the wrong person. And if I am, I hope the right person's not in stream chat, because they will definitely get mad at me.
So, the Tinker Knight fight that Eric was on before is significantly more dangerous for Moo because of the amount of damage he can deal, and the fact that if you look at his health, he has half the health that Eric has at this moment. Eric is now going to use Skeletal Sentry to do his not Tinker Knight, but Treasure Knight fight on the right. That rhymed, I love it. And he's down because Skeletal Sentry does unloads, and you just have a field day with some of the bosses like this guy.
Yeah, still very fast with Skeletal Sentry. Okay, so Moo did end up grabbing both the skulls in this stage, just for laughs.
Okay, Eric will now be heading into the Lost City. One of the advantages to his route is that he doesn't have to do as many non-Judgment Rush strats because he has 4 Darkness versus Moo's 2. If you look on the left, Moo is also using the Bounding Soul to increase the amount of damage done to Tinker Knight, and like that.
That was super fast. So it's tough on that first phase to get double hits with the Bounding Soul, but it still ends up being way more damage to just do an air slash and then fire a basketball as you're falling. And this strat right here is super cool. You can see he is getting the rebounds. This is all very deliberate. Okay, maybe not that last part, but setting it up so that Tinker will go to the next side of the stage at the same time that the basketball is about to get there. That was really clean. Alright, so Eric coming up on Beetle 1 here. Oh, okay, so he's going... Alright.
Playing it safe.
Was that too safe, maybe?
I
don't feel good about this!
No! Heart attack number 4! No!
Yeah, as soon as he was a little late doing that grind, I was really worried. It didn't look like he was going to make it, and in fact he did not. So we're going to give that another shot.
But this time
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
This time he should have a little bit more darkness. We'll see if that changes how he deals with the beetle.
Yeah, it's easier here because now you can also do a rush on this beetle and a rush on that guy. And also on the birder too if you want. If you have a lot of darkness, it's pretty easy to get through that. It's just if you're low on darkness or trying to save it, that room can be really tricky.
And Moo heading onto the King Knight stage by more keep. Just again, going through the stages as fast as possible at this point. He's going to go for book skip here, which he's going to slash this guy, get it backwards, damage boost off the pot, and let's see if he beats that last pot, and he does, he gets it. First book's down. Okay, keep going through the stage. Eric approaching one of the more dangerous spots of Lost City.
Oh, he accidentally didn't get that checkpoint when he rushed, so he had to walk back and go back for it. I think he made the right call, though. You definitely want that checkpoint for this next room. And the room he was in, for that matter.
I have to say, you can see some really positive change in Eric's gameplay as opposed to a couple of days ago. Definitely a different runner right now in many aspects, going through the game.
All right, when he missed his rail there, I was a little worried, but even walking is fast enough to get through that. So without the Bounding Soul, Eric has to do that room a little bit different. See, Moo is coming up on the books room here, and there's another damage boost using the Cauldron. Those damage boosts with the Cauldron are definitely the fastest way to get through the stage, but they do a full heart each, and there is no food before this boss, so if you go for this, you do have to fight King Knight with only 2 hearts. But with the Bounding Soul, he does. Yeah, he's gonna die so fast, it's probably not gonna matter. Look at this.
And Later, sucker.
King Knight is one of the boss fights that I think is significantly improved with Bounding Soul rather than Skeletal Sentry. It's difficult. He has kind of a small hurt box and moves around very quickly, so it's tough to get the skeleton shots to significantly damage him.
Okay, Moo will be mashing through the final memory cutscene. Just as the cutscene out of stage, Eric is going to go to a Mole Knight. Similar to Treasure, he's going to throw Skeletal Sentry to the left and deal as much damage as possible while Mole Knight flies around. You can, a little bit more easily, kill him faster, and he gets a very nice quick kill on Mole Knight. Nice job, Eric.
Yeah, that was great. Super clean. So with this strat, you actually don't have to slow down to avoid doing too much damage to Mole. Like, the skeleton projectiles are just hitting at the right time where it doesn't matter, you just mash attack.
You know,
I mean,
Eric...
I'm not trying to say it's like an easy fight or anything, but it is, you don't have to slow down for that one part. So it's convenient.
It's a good word.
Yeah.
SAT word.
So this is another mini boss MooMoo's coming up on that you can get a one cycle on if you have the Bounding Soul. Again, a one cycle here is theoretically possible without it. Oh, he doesn't get it. One hit short.
But still, quick.
Oh, wait a minute. I think he actually always like goes one hit short there so that he can try to dash up to that platform where the checkpoint is, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah. So one of the advantages Eric has on the right going into Shield Knight, he's going to try the same strategies, most likely. Funny, because Donovan's not Spectre, he has magic instead of darkness, so darkness converts to that. He can use more caltrops, is what I'm trying to say.
On MooMoo's screen, in this stage there are switches you can hit that change the direction the rails go. The switches are hittable with basketballs, and there's a pretty significant skip that MooMoo did to save a few seconds. Shield Knight fight is looking pretty good so far. Gets her to go back into the same corner. Oh shoot.
Does he get the bullies? MooMoo gets bullied!
Good. Oh, Eric is down to one heart here, half a heart.
Oh, come on. Land on the stings, land on those things, and she lands on it.
I guess something we can mention real quick, if a boss dies from, for example, a caltrop that you set down within a few seconds of you dying, you still get the kill. So if that ever comes up, that is in fact how that works.
Okay, so MooMoo throwing some well-placed Bounding Souls and basically sliding with Polar Knight with the rail mail to get the quickest kill on him. Eric moving on to his next stage, Explodatorium, and MooMoo heading in to his next stage, the Tower.
Alright, so we saw Explodatorium earlier in this race, but it is different with the Skeletal Sentry. Because once again, like all the mini-bosses, if you have the right curio, you can kill the boss before its next phase. And Skeletal Sentry is going to let him do that. Gotta wait for that part of the run. Okay, I didn't realize it was faster to skip a Judgment Rush there. Normally you just do 4 of them.
Also save some darkness, because MooMoo has 4 instead of the Skeletal Sentry's possible 5. They can get 5 darkness if they want, but usually they get 4.
Ah, good point.
Nice book skip.
Whoa! Okay, that's not exactly what he wanted, but we get to see that again, which is good because this is cool. Okay, no.
Swag.
I see what he was trying to do, but you know, you go for the swag strats and you miss them. You end up just looking kind of silly.
Okay, he's gonna try to see if he gets the Crusher skip. Lisa skips him 1 cycle of it, and he does get it as long as he fulfills it the rest of the way. He'll be successful. Eric going on to the Alchemist, which will be a little bit easier because Skeletal Sentry is in his tools, so Skeletal Sentry can deal the damage to the Alchemist while Eric does his thing. MooMoo getting the Crushers, nice.
Really good Crusher there. Let's see if Eric can get this Alchemist super quick. Oh, he's not quite going to get him before he transforms, but still pretty good. There's something neat about the Alchemist, is if you kill him before he transforms, he drops Darkness, but if you kill him after, he drops health. Darkness is usually more relevant to your needs in a speedrun. Really nice big fish room from Moomoo.
Yep, and while he's on his auto-scroller, let's talk a little bit about Black Knight 2. Why is this guy just a pain sometimes?
This guy is a super duper jerk because he flies around at the top of the screen where it's difficult to hit him. There are small windows where you can slash up and then try to rebound off him, and as long as you keep yourself airborne with slashes, you can kill him pretty quickly, but if you mess up, it's very difficult to recover. The alternate strat is you can try to knock him off his turtle, which usually ends up being slower because when you hit him when he's not on the turtle, he has invincibility frames, so there's a limit to how much DPS you can do. So we'll see what Moomoo goes for here. I assume he's going to try to keep Black Knight on the turtle.
Yep, so he's going to try to go for the aerial kill. He was practicing it a little bit ago, and basically you do a series of damage boosts and a certain amount of hits, predicting his pattern, and trying to do the whole fight in the air. Let's see if he gets it.
Oh, no, that's right. That's part of it. Yeah, you get hit there, it actually skips one of his attacks for whatever reason. So there are a few damage boosts in the optimal version of this fight.
Noticing he bounced up Terrapin to try to keep Black Knight on, but unfortunately Black Knight is down.
Oh no!
Oh no! Art attack number 5 for this race. Eric going for a safety strat on the right after having a nice plague fight. He's getting the Will Skull as he heads into his 2 final stages. This allows him to regain some lost health, especially going into the fight you see Moomoo on. That's going to be a very helpful tool in a race situation for Eric.
Yeah, I believe Eric says specifically the reason he gets it in a race is for this boss right here, Black Knight 2. But it is also going to be useful on the final boss. Alright, fight going okay for Moomoo, but this can definitely turn around in a hurry. Nice, okay. Has a good kill on the second part. Black Knight 2 always jumps back to Terrapin when he's one hit away from death. If you have an item that does a full heart, you can actually get him to skip that, but otherwise you're just going to have to chase him down and make sure you hit him right as he gets on the turtle, or you're going to lose a lot of time.
Usually you can mash Judgment Rush because it does a full heart and hope that it works, but doesn't always happen because Judgment Rush takes a while to charge up, so the enemy might have moved after the lock-on happened. Moomoo heading up to Tower of Fate, the other Tower of Torment, and doing a Zelda-like puzzle here. He's going to try to go up to skip most of it and just relax before the final fight, the Enchantress and Nightmares, while Eric here is finishing up the mini-boss of Polar Knight stage. Can you tell us a little bit more about Enchantress and Nightmares with the B-balls?
With the B-balls? Actually, I am not super familiar with that strat. I was learning B-balls, but I didn't get that far. I'll let you handle that one.
Okay, so I'll let you handle it when Eric gets there. How's that?
Yeah, that's fair. I know the strat with skeletons.
Yeah, so what Moomoo's going to try to do is avoid damage, obviously, because all of her attacks, except getting hit by her Gothfire that's on the ground, is going to do a full heart of damage, so he has 4 possible hits before he dies. He does a damage boost there intentionally. Now he's going to angle these balls to go get her that much down. He's doing a dangerous strat here, using Judgment Rush to go under, and gets it. Because Nook, he died, but he's not dead because of that nice touch from Yacht Club Games. The Bounding Soul kills her, and he is alive to fight Emery's another day.
So Nightmare Ree's final boss of this game. So the rail patterns that you get here are randomized, and this is where Bounding Soul really shines because Skeletal Sentry is actually useless in this fight. It doesn't do anything. There's nowhere to put the skeleton so that it'll land and start doing damage. But the basketballs you can absolutely fire. Doing a lot of damage here. Hasn't been hit yet, which is really nice.
Yeah, so you get recharged when you start this fight. And one of the challenging parts of this route at the end is that you want a good rail pattern so you can maximize damage. And because you're so busy trying to throw Bounding Souls, I feel like it's just a little bit more dangerous having the charge mail at the end of Skeletal Sentry. Eric going through in a similar fashion Polar Knights, and time on Moo screen 39. Decent run, but just noting that Moo is definitely a top tier runner, being kind of going head to toe with Patwa on the world record front. So 39, pretty decent run for him.
Yeah, 39.50 with a death. That's incredible. It's a super good time. Eric, I think, still has 3 more stages to go.
Yep, he has 5 more keep and then the 2 towers. Something to note, though, is that Eric is doing a decent job. I mean, he is a very strong upcoming Plague Knight runner, chewing this for the tournament, and then getting into the second round with Moo, and now onto the Primordial Keep, where you're going to see now he has full darkness, all the health he probably wants so far, and will have a little bit more freedom to use Judgment Rush.
I guess now we can give this screen our full attention, huh?
Yeah.
So, having 5 darkness for this stage helps because there's a lot of screens, especially in this early part of the stage, where you want to do a lot of Judgment Rushes. You see he's already down to 1. And if you don't have as much darkness, you kind of have to pick and choose which rushes are going to be the most effective for you. Coming up on the book skip room. Ooh, okay, no, he must not be going for it. Oh no, okay, he is.
And he gets it a little bit slower, but he still gets it. Doesn't have to worry about waiting for the pots there.
Yeah, so he has a different setup for that, I guess. Which caught me off guard.
Yeah, you can either do the setup you saw Moo do, or you could do a Judgment Rush there to deal with that room. Anyway, he's just gonna fly around. That pot is RNG. You can sometimes get a bomb, sometimes get health. Skipping the mid-boss with the Judgment Rush, and then gonna keep going.
Yeah, this is actually, well, if you don't pick up health upgrades, this is one of the stages where you actually do need to pick up health, because there's a lot of damage boost that you need to do, and if you didn't pick up any health, you wouldn't actually have enough health. If you get a bomb in that platter, there's a backup apple that you can get a little bit later, but it costs a little time.
Playing it safe on the book room. There is a really insanely fast setup you could do here at Skeletal Sentry, but it is so ridiculous, and in the race, I'm not surprised not to see it, and he's doing a good job going through that. Let's see what he does here, getting to the end of the books, and uses Rail Mail to get an extra distance on the jump. And now into the King Knight fight. Skeletal Sentry will change the tactics a little bit. We'll see how he contends with this.
Yeah, optimal fight here, I think, involves a detonation early. See if he goes for that.
Let's see, beginning pretty well. Doesn't detonate yet.
No,
unfortunately.
That skeleton's his friend. He's not going to blow that one up. Oh no, that skeleton wasn't his friend. He threw him right in the pit. No!
Oh no!
He hates skeletons! He's just murdering them over and over.
So
That one fell too! They're all falling!
Quick kill on the Skeletal Sentry right there. It's a new strat. We've never seen this before. Oh my god.
If you just keep throwing skeletons into pits, King Knight gets demoralized and then he just gives up.
So you'll notice that one of the disadvantages of Skeletal Sentry is that when King Knight falls in a hole, he grabs onto his propeller friend, and Skeletal Sentry can't shoot up.
Yeah, so at that point the Skeletal Sentry is not useful, whereas you can throw basketballs that angle up and still hit him. Alright, Eric getting into the Tower of Fate 1. Yeah, I guess nobody did. Yeah, I guess nobody does a rush there anymore. Wow.
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I guess I'm lazy now, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I go for a rush there. Alright, whatever. Nobody can tell me how to live. I'm my own man.
Sorry, I'm a Mega Man fan. I have to go for the rushes.
I get it. Okay, so, yeah, hitting the second book here. There's a way you can get through this room. We saw Moo do it earlier, where you only hit the first book and bypass the second one. It saves time, but it's a lot riskier because the platforms go away faster, which is, you know, why it's a faster strat, but also it's why it might murder you.
This is going to be really close. Is he going for it? Nope.
No. Okay, good save. Yeah, he realized as soon as that mace hits you, you can't get the one cycle anymore. It was good of Eric to recognize that and get back on the platform, do one more hit of damage to the knight just to finish it off so it doesn't have to worry about that guy anymore.
Waits a little bit so he can just rail through the rest of that. He's going to use a Judgment Rush here to finish that out because he's a little at a different time than usual. Getting the extra health, that's pretty doesn't take too much time. And he's going to keep going.
Alright. Does get hit by that last grave robber.
That guy's a jerk.
He is. You know, for the longest time, I didn't understand the setup to avoid that grave robber, and then it's like, I eventually realized it's just, oh, you don't hold right as you climb onto the wall, you, like, neutral jump. It's like one of those eureka moments.
That was a nicely done Bertha room by Eric. Really textbook there, very nicely done.
And I guess MooMoo's not satisfied that it took him 2 tries to beat Black Knight, too, so he's working on it for the next run. Always grinding. The struggle never ends.
The eternal Specter of Torment.
Speaking of the struggle never ends, he should do the Horus minigame. Everyone likes that.
That would be awesome.
Eric's showing off a bit.
Nice.
That's cool.
You swag.
I mean, why not? He has an extra darkness wisp. May as well.
One of the things Eric can do is use Skeletal Sentry to explode and hit Black Knight if he needs to get that last hit on the death.
Yep, that's true. That's one of the ways that Skeletal Sentry can let you hit an enemy that's at the top of the stage. And if all you need is 1 or 2 more hits, it's completely worth it. Let's see what he goes for. It's safer to knock Black Knight off, but it is faster not to.
The tango seems very appropriate for this.
It looks like he's going for the optimal kill. Falls off.
Got the first phase pretty well, dealt with the damage very nicely. Keeps Terrapin damaged just so Black Knight doesn't get knocked off.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about earlier. It's very difficult to get back up there. Also, for that attack specifically, I feel like Spectre always wants to target Terrapin and not Black Knight too. Yeah. I guess it's just Black Knight. The fight is called Black Knight too, huh? But he's just still Black Knight.
What's a Black Knight without his trusty rhinoceros turtle thing?
Of course. It's traditional. Yep, so just like just like you were saying, that's the explosion to just get that last hit. I'm curious what MooMoo's gonna do here. Oh, he's doing it.
Oh, nice. He must have heard us.
Yep.
No.
No. Oh my god, I got trolled!
This is so
I cannot believe this! I cannot believe this!
You'll notice that Eric went for charge mail on the right. That's a difference in the route between Founding Soul and Skeletal Sentry. He is heading up to the tower, and he will deal with this fight when he gets to it.
So I mentioned earlier Skeletal Sentry is not super useful for Nightmare Rees. This is part of the reason why this route takes Striker's Shawl. What this lets you do is it lets you charge up your regular attack, and when you release it, it does an extra point of damage. So a full heart instead of half a heart. So this is going to help you make up for the damage lost from not having basketballs. You do lose rail mails, so you can't, rail super fast anymore. But as you can see, this stage is pretty short before you get to the boss, so it's not that big of a deal anyways. Okay, so MooMoo is in fact doing the tower. Just like randomize a little minigame for funsies. Oh wow, okay, I have not actually seen that strat before. I don't know optimal tower strats. Yeah, what if we ran a tower tournament? I mean, we have, but we haven't like streamed it or anything. Okay, anyways, more importantly, Eric's starting up the Enchantress fight.
So he's looking to get 3 circles down, so 6 hits on her. So she'll start teleporting a little bit. She's at 5.5 now. She teleports when she gets to 3 circles down. Unfortunately, again, because she's in the air, she can only get hit by a skeletal sentry when she does her dashing. Let's see if he knows the strat here. Okay, avoids damage there. Uses the Will Skull. Nice. Good. Glad he got it.
Yep.
She can quickly become dangerous.
Got a couple more uses out of that Will Skull if he needs it. Because Enchantress is still so high on health, I don't think he's going to throw skeletons through the floor. He's just going to let her come back up and fight her on equal footing. No! Can't Will Skull that. What, that's heart attack number 6?
Lost count.
I think it's number 6. I mean, there might have been other deaths, but they didn't cause us heart attacks, maybe. So we're going to give that another shot. You really want to get 3 hearts worth of damage on this boss because it starts the next phase.
Are you ready for round 2?
Ooh, misses the explosion. It's a bummer because then that's some mana that you're out of. Alright, so once again, not enough mana to kill her with skeleton explosions through the floor, so we may as well just wait for her to come back.
Probably saving some of that mana for some health in case.
Jeez. I mean, it's good he got it, because he absolutely would be dead right now without it. Oh wow, Enchantress is being super rude right now, destroying all the platforms. Gotta wait for more of them. I guess he could have gone to the one that was still on the left, but whatever.
Oh. Is he gonna drop to get the last hit? Oh, he's gonna... Oh, no!
No, she's summoned the platforms!
No! This is not happening.
Alright, attempt number 3. This attempt number 3, I think, is where it all turns around. Yeah, I should mention, this is a really hard boss. Like, to get optimally or just to get at all.
To get Deathless is an accomplishment. To get 1 death is an accomplishment, even. She's just dangerous, and at the end of the run, you know, you've done all your run, gotten through so many challenges, and then you have this at the end.
This is what I liked about running 100%, man, because this boss is trivial on 100%. You have 5 darkness, 10 hearts, every curio. She just explodes.
And he gets it. Again, one of the disadvantages now is that he doesn't have an item to use on the rails because he is... Sorry, I'm getting distracted by Moo dancing right there. I am so sorry. But he can't use a skeletal sentry because there's literally no ground for the guy to stand on, and you'll just throw him in a hole again anyway. But he can use the rush in case he does fall under the rails, and because of the charge mail, he'll do a full heart on every hit as long as he's charged for his power slash!
The one thing you want to be careful of if you use the Judgment Rush to save yourself is don't do it while Nightmare Reese is off screen to the left, because that actually soft locks the game. I had that happen once. Doing pretty good on this fight so far. It is a little slower in this category, but the Striker's Shawl definitely helps. Few opportunities to deal fully charged shots like that one. Oh no! Okay, one more
and
hit.
Time!
Okay, that did kind of spook me, but...
So how many is that?
I don't know, where's the timer?
Huh. Spooky
Well, I mean, Moomoo won, I know that part. But, yeah, I don't... Oh, Eric is saying that's a PB, so congratulations.
A nice PB, dude!
Yeah. So saying final time was about a 53:39. Yeah, really nicely done.
It's a good time, really.
You said he just started running this category?
Basically, right before the tournament, I feel like Eric picked it up, and then, like, he's been doing Plague. If you look at the Plague leaderboards, he's pretty up there already. And then he just picked this up not too long ago, and is already at a 53. So it'll be exciting to see what he can do.
Oh, awesome. Alright, so I think Yeah, I think that's it for us. There's not another race on after this one.
Hello.
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 Hey, Moomoo, congratulations.
Thank you. It's going to be a slight weird double audio because I forgot to stop my stream before I came in here, but hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Congrats on Eric.
Yeah, getting a PB during a race, that's awesome.
He's even done races before, too, for any percent, so he also got a an SRL PB.
Ooh, nice.
Super sweet.
Moomoo, what happened on Black Knight 2?
He had it in for me?
Oh, that's rude.
Oh my god. So, I screwed up the aerial stun lock, and then when I actually finally got around to knocking him down, I was gonna chase him, but like, I had so little health, I didn't want to get past Terrapin. I didn't want to risk taking any hits because I would have died. So what does he do? He judgment rushed me with his shovel. I want to clip that.
Just rains from above.
So you think you have everything planned out, but it turns out Black Knight also beat the flying machine. And
See,
he also collected 10 skulls.
This is why I keep telling everyone, you can die anywhere, like tiny text.
Mm-hmm. Shame. Alright. Well, I'm gonna head out. That is the end of the run. Thank you everybody for watching. Be sure to tune into this channel for more of this race in the future and also other races. There's like randomizer, link to the past. There's all kinds of stuff. You should hit follow on this channel in my opinion. Brasswolf, it was a pleasure commentating with you.
Yeah, same Peanuts, and make sure you follow the runners and maybe the commentators if you enjoyed any of their sayings.
Feel free.
Yo, when Skullgirls. Anyways, thank you so much for commentating.
Alright, thanks for having us. Alright. Peace out, everybody.
Later.
Peace out, home slices.